Hey guys, we're changing it up this week and we're going to be looking at a sci-fi kit. And we're actually looking at a subject matter we've never looked at before on this channel with Maschinen Krieger. Now, this is a series I openly admit I don't know that much about, and it is one I've been interested in trying to get into, very least because their designs are very interesting. But today, we're going to be looking at Hasegawa's 1/35th scale Melusine Panzerkampf Anzug Ausf.M. Let's open her on up and take a look. Now, this kit is actually technically a twofer, as you get complete parts to build two complete models. So I'll spare going over both sets of sprues and just stick to the single version. Right away, casting is typical Hasegawa quality. Nothing really jumps out as being, potentially bad. You can see here on this main center torso part, you do get some surface detailing, but it's definitely on the more minimal side. So this is one area you could potentially come back in with some panel chisels and add those in, or just to give it additional interest. I would say with what panel lining there is, you might want to still also come in and deepen them, as they do seem a little on the shallow side. Beyond that, nothing really jumps out other than some of the cabling that's included with the kit. I would say you might consider replacing it with actual wire, as I think that will, in terms of positioning and all that, be a better choice. As with this plastic, you're going to be fighting it, I would say, if you do anything but a fairly static pose. Continuing on, we've got our next sprue that is our legs, arms, and feet, as well as a couple other pipes. Now, you do get this two options for a figure. However, that's not for this particular version. That's for a different version, I believe the Ausf G, which has a full open, and I'll use open sort of face mask area. So fortunately, you won't be able to use that for this part, and you do get an options for one that either uses a second hand in the left hand or a laser gun for that hand, and we'll see that once we get into instructions. Do like that they have some texture for the bottom of the feet. That's a nice little inclusion, even though you'll probably never see it. This back vent is another area I would say, if you really want to go the extra mile, you might cut it out, replace it with an actual metal screen, and backfill it with some plastic card. That would be one area to potentially improve and just give it that little bit of extra interest. But that's if you really want to make some additional work for yourself. Similarly to the torso, I would say adding in some additional scribing would be a good option. You're also given a single additional weapon for the engineer version, which is a Panzerfaust. And that's basically it. I mean, it's really, for each one of these, it's just two sprues. I mean, it's very, very basic. Now, moving on to the decals. This is one area I do like, is you're giving a wide variety of options, both for numbering and as well as unit markings. Always a great thing to have options. Additionally, the color on all of these is sharp, bright, fantastically rendered. Typical cardiograph decal quality right there. Now, this is one area I am disappointed on, is the paint key that's included. While it does do it in an interesting way, I am disappointed that it's only in Japanese, and you're really not given any type of exact paint callouts. You're only given the decal placements, and even then, it's only for this the box art version of the kit. So that is disappointing. But until you get 4 different options, which you can build, but obviously with all the decals, you could probably also source from elsewhere and really get creative. Now, diving into instructions. There are a couple areas of concern, namely with the legs, and you'll see why in a second. As we start with the assembly, it's getting the legs gear, which isn't that difficult in terms of assembly, but it's here after we move through building up the torso. It's for what you got to do for positioning the legs. Down here, sorry, that wasn't in frame. Down here, if you want to adjust them in anything but a basic standing pose, you have to sand down that particular side of the leg. So this does lead to some problems. Namely, you've got basically one shot to get it right, as trying to backfill that will give you a headache. Now, thankfully, the feet is a ball joint, so you'll be able to, at least reposition that. But that is one area I do wish they had done some type of polycap system. But I digress. So after that, you can then position the arms again. Since it is just a ball joint, you will have to figure out your positioning and then glue it together. Again, no polycaps, so you can't reposition after assembly. And also, as I mentioned before, 2 versions, either one with the laser gun or an engineer version with the Panzerfaust. And then after that, just assembling the Panzerfaust and adding the feet. So, overall, this is a surprising little kit. I went into this more or less blind. This is, as I said, this is the first Maschinen Krieger kit I've ever gotten. And I do think Hasegawa has made some smart choices, but I also think they've made some bad choices. I do think it's probably a more than decent, entry point into collecting these kits. You've got 2 options. You've got plenty of decal options and plenty of room to do whatever you want. I will say I wish you didn't have to sand down the legs to do the positioning. But I will say, if you do a fair amount of dry fitting and go slowly with the sanding, it should work out. So that was a look at Hasegawa's 1/35th scale Melusine Panzerkampf Ausf.M. Great little kit. Good entry point Maschinen Krieger kit lineup. And even more so when you consider it's about $25. So, until next time.